very simple question. Are you taking any action to facilitate his return, or are you not?
This administration is following and complying with all federal court orders to make sure that we...
So you are, because the court ordered that you facilitate his return. So you are facilitating his return.
Sir, Senator, thank you for the question. But what I would tell you is that we are following court orders and that your advocacy for a known terrorist is alarming to me.
Madam Secretary.
It's alarming to me because he's a human smuggler.
Madam Secretary, I'm going to have to reclaim
and a terrorist, and he's not a U.S. citizen. He's a citizen of El Salvador, and he's home. If he were to come back
Madam
here,
Secretary,
we would take him immediately.
All right,
back
I'm going to have to, Madam Secretary, you should know a couple facts then, which is, number one, in 2019, the immigration court said that he should not be returned to El Salvador because it would put his life in danger. The Trump administration at the time did not appeal that decision. After that, he got a work permit and was working legally in the United States of America. This is also why the district court and the appellate court and the Supreme Court have ruled as they have. I suggest that rather than make these statements here, that you and the Trump administration make them in court under oath, because despite what you just said, the federal district court whose judge is hearing this case right now said, and I'm quoting, that the administration has provided no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or any other terrorist activity. I'm not vouching for the man. I'm vouching for his due process rights.
Yes, you are, sir. You've
no,
been vouching for
Madam
him.
Secretary, with
respect. I would
respect.
suggest that you defend and stand alongside the victims of illegal crime.
This is political rhetoric.
The citizens who live here and are United States Americans. I would suggest you advocate for them as hard as you do. Madam Secretary,
I know you're doing a political speech here. I get it. I'm asking questions of law. No, you're just spewing rhetoric.
I truly believe this.
Madam Secretary,
this Congress has given
this is really, I'm asking sort of simple questions of law. And simple questions like, are you complying with the 9-0 Supreme Court decision? And you seem to think that's some kind of trick question.
It's important that everybody knows the consequences of what happens for their actions in this country. When you break the law and you're a member of a foreign terrorist organization,
I asked you a question. Have you seen the document? This is not hard.
This week, the Trump regime doubled down on its assertion that Kilmar Abrego Garcia's finger tattoos, a cross, a skull, a smiley face, and a marijuana leaf, are evidence of his alleged ties to the MS-13 gang, despite widespread skepticism. In its ongoing efforts to link Abrego Garcia to the infamous gang, claims his family and legal team firmly deny, the White House earlier this month shared a social media post showing Donald Trump holding a photo of the man's tattoos while seated at his Oval Office desk. The image featured digital annotations, photoshopped letters of MS-13 on Abrego Garcia's knuckles. Unaltered photos of Abrego Garcia's hand show only the basic symbols without any accompanying letters or words. In a recent ABC interview marking the 100th day of his second term, Trump referenced the tattoos, seemingly unaware or unconcerned that the image he displayed had been digitally modified.
He said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop.
He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because it's fake news. When he was photographed in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador. They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
there in your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
Abrego Garcia's attorney criticized the government's narrative, saying none of the material being cited publicly has been submitted as evidence in court. He urged the government should return him to the U.S. and ensure a fair hearing before the same immigration judge who reviewed his case in 2019. When asked on Wednesday whether the White House claims that those specific numbers and letters are actually tattooed on Abrego Garcia's hand, a spokesperson avoided a direct answer. Ask any law enforcement or immigration officer familiar with Kilmar Abrego Garcia's tattoos, they'll tell you he's MS-13, said Kush Desai, a White House spokesperson. Nevertheless, experts with deep knowledge of MS-13 pushed back on that characterization. These are absolutely not MS-13 tattoos, Thomas Ward, a professor at the University of Southern California and author of an ethnographic study of the gang, stated via email. Susan Phillips, a professor at Pitzer College who had written extensively about gang graffiti and culture, added, those tattoos do not demonstrate that he's part of MS-13. The Trump regime is invoking the state secrets privilege in a fascistic attempt to avoid answering a judge's questions about its mistaken deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador. The case is the latest in a string of emergency appeals the administration has made to the Supreme Court, many of them related to immigration. The government asked the court to strip temporary legal protections from 350,000 Venezuelans last week, and it remains locked in legal battles over its efforts to swiftly deport people accused of being gang members to a prison in El Salvador under an 18th century wartime law called the Alien Enemies Act. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.